Are the kids all asleep now?
Yes, they're all asleep now.
Let's jump in then. Hello and welcome to a new episode of the College Experience. In today's episode, I'm glad to come out of my shell by hosting an extraterrestrial friend who is emerging from another university. Salve Laura or hello. I was trying to philosophizing in Latin since you're studying law. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Glad to host you, and I hope that this episode's gonna be a shiny one.
Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous because you seem so smart, and maybe
Yeah.
you think that I'm smart too because I study law, but that isn't the case.
Actually, we are both fools, so no worries. We're just two goons having some chill time. Okay?
Yeah,
So, shall we start with the questions?
yeah.
Why did you choose law school to apply for?
To be honest, I wanted to become a doctor, and my mom was just like, pick something, pick something. And she was like, maybe this will be just fine for you. And I had no idea what law was about because I hadn't been doing some criminal stuff, and my friends were not criminals as well. So I was like, maybe it will be just like in the movies. So I was quite scared when I entered. I didn't even know what to expect. I just had like this Legally Blonde thing image in my head.
And the thing is that could be like this cool thing, but then it turns out to be lots of piles of books that you have to read, I guess. In general, since you've been in law and you are still undergraduated, what is the most things that you dislike about the law school?
Yeah, the thing I dislike the most is that we don't really have so much group meetings. We only have a lot of teachers telling us what to do and a lot of books to read, but not that many actually group meetings.
You basically told me that you are next to zero with the social life with your classmate.
Yeah, I would
Ah.
like to see more social life. Actually, in Uppsala University, they have this method of people like cooperating with each other, like students talking to each other, trying to solve law cases together. But in Stockholm, it's more of a lonely life. You need to read your books yourself, and the teacher will ask you. And sometimes we have this meetings, group meetings, but they're very like,
Just to make sure, is your voice still here? Hello, hello.
Two very boring minutes later.
hello?
Uh,
Maybe if the Wi-Fi is off, it will be better.
okay, okay then. So we'll be pray for the 4G. So since you answered my question about the sociable life of the student body in Stockholm University, but do you still having your your social life outside your law school, reaching other students from other schools at Stockholm University?
Yes, if you have like special interests, like my interest is to be like a feminist, then you can reach out to other universities when you have this small groups of feminists, for example.
So you were saying that you are socializing more with a group of feminists there on the campus, since it is something mutual, like interest, as let's say as a sub identity with the subculture we're having at the university. Your atmosphere there that you most with communicate, right?
Yes, but I would like to say that I know this group exists, but I'm lazy because I'm from Stockholm, so I
Mm.
already have my friends here. But for people who move to Stockholm, this is an option for them. And this is
Mm.
the thing about Stockholm. People who live here don't really want to socialize with new people because they already have their family and group of people here. That's why it's better to go to the university in a small town because there it's a like a higher chance that other people will come from other cities and they want to socialize with you. In Stockholm, it's so much harder to find friends.
Actually, you hit on nerve when you're talking about that, because I myself, since I'm an immigrant, so when I came to Sweden and specifically to Stockholm and started the university, I expected something bigger. Like, I expected like people to be more open-minded, and so I didn't take it from the spectrum or from the aspect of people are already having the luxury to have their not only childhood friends, there are also their gymnasium friends and other friends, and me, their classmate, comes in the bottom of this hierarchy.
Yeah.
So right now I understand it more, actually.
You should have gone to Örebro, to a smaller city. Never go to the big city.
I know. I came with the dream. What can I do?
But the
Uh,
fishes already have other fishes to hang out. You need to go to another place.
No worries. Right now, I fixed my friends, and bygones are bygones. I actually wanted to ask you before we go to the sociable skills of our universities to the question about what do you wish you had known before applying to the law school?
I didn't really know. I had seen like in the movies you could work as a prosecutor or judge, but I didn't know the way to be successful. It's like so many years of studying and learning the method. Of course, I would like to know that it's almost like a gymnasium education, because you get to know how to put the floor down and paint the walls. It's also very practical sometimes. So it doesn't really feel like a university degree. Law is very something overrated sometimes. People believe that law is like a real science, but it's really not. It's just man-made up rules. So I could have been like a priest or going to Quran school, because it's the same thing. Like, we're studying something that the mankind has made up. It's not a real science, just like math or chemistry. Law is like just some rules that we agree to follow. So I actually miss the kind of science of it.
Yeah. I guess some people think the same with journalism. Like when they look at it, it's all about being Eren Brokovich or like those type of idols of journalism, those who goes into investigations and so. But it turns like most of them right now working with clickbaits and so. And yeah, me too. Like when I look into serious like Suits, and seeing them taking pro bono cases and doing all this shows and gloating on the other lawyers, I say, I wish if I've been a lawyer, but
I wish
you
that
ruined
my
my
life
dream.
was like Suits as a law student, and I wish my life would be like Suits after my degree. But now I know it's really not, because that's a clickbait.
So that son of a bitch Harvey doesn't exist.
No.
Okay. Thanks for telling me that. Okay, so what's your opinion then about the relevance of the given curricula at your university?
I think it's good, but of course, like in law, we study only the law. We don't study any human behavior. And that is a big problem for lawyers, because we never talk about like who gets pulled over in a car. Is it a black person or a white person? Like, we never talk about these men who hits women, because we only pretend in the law that justice is blind, like everybody is equal, and like that's nice. We never make a difference between people, but the world doesn't work like that, and that is a big problem for me.
Exactly, and I guess any lawyer must have at least bit insights on psychology.
No
At least.
insights at all.
But the thing is, it's also that precisely the judge must also learn how to have the soul of the law. Like, Since you're a lawyer, I would like to go a little bit in you with the case of possessing, let's say, weed in Sweden. You know how intolerable they are with that. And it's still something you don't understand. Why would you go so hard on things that you can go way mildly on? Is this the thing that matters for the law? Someone having 2 grams in his pocket?
Yeah, I will ask you a question back.
Yeah.
When you or the people who's buying this grass, when they buy that, who gets the money?
Who gets the money? Well, we get to the hierarchy in the end to the cartel, I guess.
Yeah. And the cartel, is that a problem in Sweden right now or not?
Depends, because I too heard the opinion of a police officer who said that we don't really give a shit about the grass. What we give a shit about the heavier drugs. So I'm a
Yeah,
bit
but
right now.
the grass, like if you take this middle class people in Sweden and also the upper middle class and the high class and the low class, like if everybody's like buying 2 grams and it's like hundreds and millions of people giving the money to the cartels, is that a problem or not?
Well, it depends on the fact that when you legalize it, the cartel will be the government.
Yeah, but right now it's not legalized. And it would be a problem because the cartel can always sell it cheaper. So if you go to the government and buy your grass or weed, it will cost much more. And if people are using it that like they do right now, they will always take the cheaper one. So the cartel is making a lot of money because they can always provide it cheaper.
Yeah, but at least you can have 2 cartels on the street than one. But I get what you say, but I still think that, well, don't go so hard on people. Like,
So I would say, like, to all the middle class people, to all the people, like, if you're buying it, then you're actually giving money to the cartel. You can't really sit complaining about these shootings or being scared for your children because you're the one actually providing them with money. So the young boys, it will be so hard for them to turn the cartels down because it's so much money involved, and the money comes from the middle class who wants to smoke grass. So you're actually a big part of the problem if you're paying the cartel money.
So people listen to her and don't wake and bake. We can jump to another question regarding the curricula and its relevance to, let's say, your future career. How is it relevant, the things you've been taught? Because you told me that things we are taught to read piles of books. In the end, would that benefit your career? Is it just like part of you have to memorize lots of meta information so it would help you in the courts and with like your cases and so to memorize the information?
I think for my education, the first few years after law school, it's still about learning because we get cut loose directly after we got our bachelor degree. It's like, good luck, go up in court. But I think it would be a much better system if we would have like a mentor.
And in your opinion, what type of insights you can gain from this mentor? Is it only the practice or also how to study more proficiently?
If I had like a legal problem, I would never take like a newly examined law student. I would take somebody who's been working for 5 or 10 years, because in my like 4 years of studying law, we went to the court one time, and that's a big problem. Like, we don't do this practical learning at all. So I would advise everyone who has a legal problem to take somebody who's been working for 10 years at least, or maybe 5 years.
But this would damage the future of you. Come on.
It's true, because you learn so much in court. But if you think about this, did you know that a law student has only been to court for maybe 2 hours the whole education? What do you think about that?
It's disaster, I would say. At least you need to get to use to the scenery of the court.
Yes. But of course, like, it's only a few percent who will work in the court. Most of the people studying law will never get the chance, because it's mostly the student who has the higher grades that will work in the court. and the people with the lower grades will work at maybe Migrationsverket or other like government
Mm,
positions.
mm,
And you
okay.
don't really need a law degree to work with these kinds of jobs. But of course, as an employer, you will like that somebody has a law degree.
And you may get also a better paycheck, I guess. As what we've been discussing so far, what are the problems that you are foreseeing coming into your future career?
Maybe artificial intelligence, that some law problems could be solved by a computer. You don't really
Mm,
need humans for that. And that is a thing that scares the law society because they want to make money. Right now, media has been focusing a lot on lawyers who's making a lot of money and not really following the laws. So the media attention on lawyers is very high right now. And of course, the law society is always checking up on their lawyers right now. But it's only because the media. So it's
mm.
like this thing where the law society is trying to fix their reputation. It's very important for the law society to have a good reputation amongst lawyers and people.
And since you brought up a major thing right now, which is the social media, so can we talk a little bit about the cancel culture and law? Because I mentioned that in my previous interview about Ronald Sullivan. Do you remember this name?
No?
He was the dean of Harvard for the law school, and he was the lawyer of Harvey Weinstein.
Okay,
And
yeah.
yeah, he got ghosted, or let's say he got witch hunted by the students because he was defending Harvey Weinstein. And when it comes to the role of a lawyer, there is no right or false. There is a defendant. Or am I being mistaken here?
Yeah, of course. In Sweden, it's the same thing. Like sometimes you don't even get to choose which clients you get. So you only get like a client from the court. And of course, if a client asks for your name, you can like take the case or not. But I think the problem is that he's a teacher. Maybe that was the problem, because like we don't have this kind of problem in Sweden because we have this terrorist Akilov. And I know the lawyer that defended him, and there hasn't been, what I heard, any problems among the students when he came and lectured for us. So I think the problem is maybe that this Harvard teacher is teaching and maybe living on this merit of a teacher. So that could be a problem where the students can react. But of course, I wouldn't have a problem with somebody defending a client. That is a part of the mission of being a lawyer.
But in your opinion, is there a matter of conflict with the morality, since he was defending someone who yet is innocent in the eyes of the court?
No, because everybody has the right for a fair trial, and that is like the most important thing we have in democracy and also in law. So everybody, including myself or my family, I would like the same thing for them if they get accused. A fair trial. And in a fair trial, you should have a lawyer that stands up for you, of course, and protects your interests. But I think the problem here is it's a little bit more complex, because here we got this teacher who's teaching, and that could be a little bit of a conflict, because when we have teachers teaching, most of them are only like professors studying, and they haven't made any controversial like things. So of course, they maybe, if it's a student teacher relationship, they will question you. It's not the same thing as working in like a law office, because then you're only taking a lot of clients and you're protecting your clients and their interests. But I think it gets more complex when it's a teacher student relationship.
So now I guess Al Pacino's the devil's advocate is just a mere of romanticization in the age of cancel culture. It's no more that image of a sleazy, manipulative lawyer who can place on the line of false and right.
Yeah, but it like cancel culture, it's like this phenomena, it's so complex. And in some cases it's good. And in some cases it's hard to really tell what's
Mm.
cancel culture and what's just like students like having a dialogue with a teacher. So I think it's complex to say that something is right or wrong when it comes to cancel culture.
Okay, let's go back to your staff of faculty by asking you how approachable are the staff and the administrative people of your faculty?
It depends on what you ask them. um, like I know that in smaller universities you have this personal relationship more, and if you
Mm.
have this personal relationship you will be maybe more comfortable to ask questions and maybe get more information. In Stockholm it's a big university and a lot of students, so it's very equal for everyone. Like I don't know anyone who has this personal relationship with the teacher. So that's the good thing. If you like equality and everybody treated the same way, then you should go to a big university because nobody gets favorized.
But what do you mean by smaller universities? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, maybe you can like in Lund or Gothenburg, where they have like we have a lot of online classes, so you get like this distance. But if
Mm.
you have them like when you meet the teachers, you have the same teachers, you get this personal relationship. In Stockholm, we have I think 300 per class students, and that's so many that teachers doesn't even have time to favorize us.
Well, I was trying to implicate you of slandering the Södertörn University, but you didn't. You passed the test. Okay. Since we talked about the legal job in general, I would love to hear your wishes or your desired job in the future. Is it gonna be something in the office or in the court law? How about your marks? Does your HP allow you to be in all those areas?
No, and that's maybe why I'm so bitter at these lawyers working in the court. Because I don't have the degrees for that, not right now. And I wish in the future that they wouldn't just look at your degrees, they should look at your personality, because then I would be
Mm.
the best lawyer in the world if they just went on the personality. But I wish for myself to work with women who get beaten, and also women who have some problems with their husband that they're trying to divorce. And there's this thing now where this it's called after violence, like even after you get divorced,
Mm.
the husband will still try to make your life harder, maybe like stalking you, not giving you information about your children, trying to make everything difficult in your life, maybe calling your boss, telling your boss stuff, or terrorizing your family. And you're not even in this relationship anymore, because here the Swedish government has failed to protect these women who leave these abusive relationships, and still the husband is ex-husband is still terrorizing these women and children, and they can't live a normal life. And this is the problem with law. We're like 10 years after all the time. We're
But
always after the situation that happened. These women don't have any protection right now in the law book.
what is encumbering or what is hindering women from having a normal life? Is it the bureaucracy of dealing with the case of the divorce, or let's say, is there any type of failure of dealing with domestic abuse by the husband, or where is the problem exactly?
So I would say that domestic abuse laws are really good right now, and the courts are getting better at the psychology stuff about the domestic violence cases, and the law is really good. But for me, it's about after the court date, and this ex-husband has got his like punishment, he
Mm.
will still try to continue to get to you in somehow, but he's always doing it within the law. So stalking, you need to be like calling a lot, you need to be turning up a lot. But if you do just a little bit stalking, the police can't do anything. If you're like terrorizing a person just a little bit, you
Mm.
won't get the law enforcement won't do anything. So these men are always like trying to find new things, some loopholes in the law to terrorize these women, and the court and the police, they and the social service can't do nothing about it. It's
Yeah.
like a psychology, like terrorizing. They're terrorizing them, but
Mm.
there's no room in the law for that because that hasn't been described yet. So I hope in the future that the lawmakers will try to take up this after violence law about not terrorizing these women.
Are you an activist or not?
Yes, I'm an activist on Facebook.
Okay, so are you trying to push anything?
Yes, I'm trying to push awareness about these women's situations. The after violence is terrible because I'm going to be quite controversial here. And now we have this situation with Putin, and he has
Mm.
like the whole world in hostage right now. Everybody's trying to figure out what Putin's next move is. And for a woman who lives with this kind of ex husband, she's always on her watch. She's like, what is going to happen next? And some of these women still get murdered every year. And it's the after violence nobody talks about. Everybody's just focused on this domestic violence, abuse laws, but nobody talks about when he comes out of prisons. When he comes out of prison or maybe got like a fine or something, he will still try to make this woman's life a terrible life.
Okay, is there any group or any event or petition you want to promote on this episode?
Yes, you should always contact the social services because the social services will help you even if you don't trust them. You could tell them about this stuff. And there's also this women's house that you can contact that only works with women who needs protection. And also there's some good supportive groups on Facebook for women about this. Just I hope for these women to get like a better life and that the law will in 10 years or something be better for them.
Well, I'm actually, proud because I'm having this interview with you because as you said, lots of people can have the ability to memorize meta information, lots of information from the curricula and ace their studies and become lawyers. But not all people can be able to be human beings to really think about the most important cases that people just forget in the bureaucracy. Who cares if you get to the court of you or you become a lawyer? Who gives a fuck? What it's important is what you're doing from your place, I guess.
Yeah, I'm trying my best.
Okay, any advice for incoming freshmen?
I would tell them to, like, my education, it says on the curriculum that it will take 4.5 years. It will probably take me 10 years to finish my law studies. And that's
Yeah.
because I prioritized my children and my friends. So for me, the social life and my mental health has always come first. So I see a lot of law students like gaining weight, losing weight, terrible
Yeah.
skin, nothing to eat, too much to eat, no sleep, too much sleep. It's like, it's terrible to watch these young people pressure themselves so much. And I'm always the opposite way. I'm just trying to be as lazy as I can, just
Mm,
cruising by law school and
mm,
maintaining my friends. So I would like, I'm taking a lot of free exams. Of course, I got no CSN because CSN wants you to pass the exam the first time.
mm.
But for me, it's about having myself and my family and my friends in my life. So re-exams, like I can be honest with you, I made maybe like 10 re-exams. I don't know if I'm a good or a bad lawyer because I did so many re-exams, but I can tell you this much. I'm a happier person, I guess.
Yeah, well, actually, this what it matters. Okay, so what? Do it. How long it takes? How long we go on? It's okay. It happens. Shit happens in our lives. Like as you said, you wanna combine. Like Confucius said, law and life don't mix. I guess you cannot mix the both. You and doctors are having the same amount of weight on your shoulders, and this is not healthy at all, and
It's
there
not
is no
healthy
purpose
at
no
all.
purpose Yeah.
It's not healthy at all to have this pressure and this big amount of meta, that you call it, a lot of information, pressuring yourself. It's not good for your mental health to make it so rapidly.
Well, that's why I studied media communication, because I'm gonna end up as a freelancer, just like half of the lawyers. So
You're gonna end up unemployed.
unemployed, exactly. So I'm my own employer right now.
That's right.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for this interesting interview. I didn't know what to expect from this interview. I haven't prepared anything, neither you, and it went well, actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, and I would love to see you here with me and Maggie, and I guess your husband also. But
Yeah.
keep the children at your mama's house, okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, I will. But
okay.
thank you so much. Thank
Of
you so
course,
much.
of course. Thanks a lot for anyone who is still listening to this episode, and I see you in another one. Bye bye.
Bye.